Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll be reviewing Clonex Rooting Gel and testing it on a number of plants to see if we do in fact get better rooting. Clonex contains indole 3-butyric acid, or IBA, which is the standard active hormone found in rooting products. I specifically have the Clonex Rooting Gel, which could not be easier to use. We simply dip the stem of a cutting into the gel, coating the bottom, and then we move our plant to propagate. The active hormones should speed up that rooting process, and that's exactly what we'll be testing for the rest of this video. Peppers will be the first plant that we test. I've got 2 small cuttings here from a bell pepper plant. Both cuttings are from the same area of the plant and should give us a good comparison. I'll be treating one of these stems with Clonex and leaving the other as a control. I'm going to move both of these cuttings into transparent jars full of tap water where they'll be able to propagate. We rejoin these plants on day number 25, first looking at the Clonex treated plant, and you can see that we have 2 roots emerging from this stem. Both roots are still small, but we're still early in their development and there's likely more roots to follow. Taking a look at our untreated control, there are not yet any roots on this plant. A clear win for the Clonex. We do have signs of swelling and you can see small white building up along the bottom of this stem, a sign that it will eventually root. Nonetheless, a clear win for the Clonex here. I repeated this process again with bell pepper plants to increase our sample size. We check in on these plants in day number 28, and we have rooting with our Clonex treated plant. We've got 1 root beginning to emerge here. You can see clear swelling around the bottom of that stem. As for the untreated control in this round, we do have swelling again at the bottom of the stem, but no roots are emerging yet. At this point, Clonex is outperforming the controls 2-0. I also tested this Clonex on some flowering plants, which unfortunately are censored on this platform. I was comparing 3 treated plants versus 3 controls. You'll have to trust me that the Clonex treated plants grew roots faster in 2 of those 3 cases and tied the controls for root growth in that 3rd case. This would improve our cumulative totals to 4 wins for Clonex and 1 tie. Next up, we'll be testing some herbs. I've got rosemary and sage here. We'll be treating 2 stems of each with Clonex and leaving 2 others as our controls. Similarly, we'll be looking to compare 2 basil plants to 2 basil controls. We rejoined the rosemary cuttings on day number 11, and unfortunately all of them have died. These cuttings may have been too small to start and not viable. Regardless, I'll be documenting these as 2 ties. Looking at our basil in day 11, we once again have a successful rooting story. Here we have our untreated stems. You can see both have rooted nicely. And in comparison, we have the Clonex treated plants, which I think have rooted even nicer. The root development has continued further up the stems of the Clonex treated plants, and there just seems to be a larger number of roots on these stems in particular. At this point, we move to 6 wins for Clonex, 0 wins for the controls, and 3 ties. Lastly, we have our sage cuttings, and we rejoin them on day number 18. All 4 of these cuttings have rooted. Our 2 control plants both have multiple roots, which are many inches in length. In comparison to our Clonex treated plants, one of them does have many roots, which are quite long. The other one, however, only has a few small roots just beginning to come out. We'll be marking this as 1 win for the control and 1 tie. Across all of our comparison plants, we had Clonex winning 6 times, the control plants winning 1 time, and 4 ties. I think this is a pretty clear win for the Clonex. It's not needed to propagate and clone your plants, but it does help. You're going to get more roots faster using the Clonex. Ultimately, this is going to help you get more production from your plants and garden as a whole. Let me know in the comments if you like Clonex and how you propagate your own plants. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, happy harvesting!